Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is Jake Cameo from CoreGaming, and today we have a very special deck profile for you guys, very near and dear to my heart. We have Lair of Darkness.
So fly, so fly, so fly.
Alright, so we have the Lair of Darkness deck here. With the upcoming ban list, it's supposed to be out, or supposed to be out around this time. I'm not sure what that's going to entail, but I'm not going to put this off any longer. I was trying to wait until the ban list came out, but no more waiting. I can't wait. If it comes out, then I'll just change the deck and do another deck profile for you guys. But I can't wait any longer because I love this deck so much. This is my all-time favorite deck to play right now, and it's 100% a Lair of Darkness build. It's got a little bit of another engine splashed in there, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But without further ado, let's begin. Alright, so starting off, we have 3 Diablos. He's the main boss monster of the deck. He's super good, especially with the field spell. You guys have seen him before. You guys have seen him even splashed in other decks. It's just an amazing card. And to kind of go with that, we have the rest of the Lair of Darkness package with the Arima and the Lilith. So definitely 3 each of those guys. This is a very tribute heavy deck. If anything, I would say this is a 100% tribute deck. With Lilith's ability to tribute a monster or your opponent's monsters with Lair of Darkness, with Arima's ability to tribute monsters or other monsters, with Diablos's ability to tribute monsters, I mean, this is just a very tribute heavy deck. So you will usually have only about 1 summon per turn. It's not going to be any kind of crazy. While I adjust my camera back to the way it was, it's not going to be anything too crazy. This is going to be a meta countering type style. It's not going to be splashing the entire board with 15 monsters waiting to get Nibiru'd. That's not what I'm about. My favorite thing is how this deck plays like old Yu-Gi-Oh! Like you summon a card or you play a card and you don't have to wait 15 more cards before your opponent's turn, something like that. So, and it's still very, very strong. So we've got those guys as the main Lair of Darkness package, and then we kind of go into the other cards here, which I've got a Malefic Stardust Dragon, because it doesn't clog up the spell and traps. It gets you a 2,500 body on board darkness monster, and it protects your field spell. So why does my camera keep... Hopefully that fixes it. But yes, we have a 2,500 attack monster, 2,000 defense. This card is perfect for any and all of your virus traps. We do run virus traps in this build, and this card is perfect for that and for the Lair of Darkness because it protects your field spell. And then we run a small Sky Striker package, just a very small Sky Striker package. Just 2, you can run 3 if you want to. Her ability is super great because she tributes herself to go into the extra deck monsters that you might have for Sky Strikers. So if you have Diablos, and that's not Diablos, if you have Diablos in your grave and then or your hand and you play Ray, she can tribute herself to get the search for the Sky Striker, or she can tribute herself to get the summon for the Sky Striker monster, and then you can summon him from your hand or grave. So it's very good and plays very well with this build. And I really, really love that Sky Strikers have not hit Ray. If they hit any of the spells again, then I think that'll be pretty good. It'll still be pretty fine. But as long as they don't hit Ray or drop her down any more than 2, she should be fine. this deck should be fine. And she's not like a super vital part, she just helps out. So, and then we have 3 Chronograph Sorcerer with 1 Time Gazer Magician. Basically, this is just to get you a 2000 Dark Monster on board, or to get you just a free special summon onto the board. So basically, this is just free cards. So yeah, I really like that. And then and then we have the 1 Tour Guide. She basically in this first build here, you would probably just grab the Time Gazer or something. She's not super useful. You can definitely tech her out for stuff in the side deck, but I put her in the main deck just because she is the 1000 attack monster, and she can she can get the Lilith as well. So Lilith is very good because she does negate her effects, but because her tribute is a quick effect, you can use the tribute as the cost and everything, so you can still get that tribute off. So then we have, as far as wrapping up the monsters, we have 2 Winged Dragon of Ra Sphere Mode. Not the greatest card to have, but with as many decks that are going to be out there that are just going to spam the board with all kinds of things, you want to have some sort of coverage for that. So you can tribute cards via plenty with this deck, but you still want to have some backup, just in case that they spam and spam and spam and you just can't tribute enough. Then you can tribute their monsters via Winged Dragon of Ra. Now onto the spells. We have 4 Lair of Darkness, because you definitely want Lair of Darkness on the field as soon as possible. And thankfully, with Arima's ability, we technically have... Where's my other copy? We technically have 7 Lair of Darkness. So you can ditch Arima from your hand to go search for Lair of Darkness. And you can do the same with Terraforming pretty much. So you have tons of ways to get to Lair of Darkness. And then because you don't want to be ashed or anything like that, when you search for your Lair of Darkness, we have Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is really good, especially for things that play from the graveyard. You can definitely Called by the Grave, and not only will it take care of your hand traps that may get you, it will also take care of some of the spam that's going to be happening in the future. And then we run 3 Allure of Darkness for draw power. Pretty basic stuff there. And then to continue the Sky Striker stuff, we run 3 Engage, obviously, with a Sky Striker, Widow Anchor, and Hornet Drones. Hornet Drones isn't super, valuable really, unless you special summon it and it has 0 attack. So you won't really care too much if this pops off. So usually if you have engaged turn 1 or something like that, you will search for the Hornet Drones to get that 0/0 body out there, just so that you can kind of use one of your traps, because the token is a dark monster. So not only is it Pot of Greed, it's also fodder for your trap cards. And then we have 1 Melody of Awakening Dragon. This is just so you can get to your Diablos a lot faster. You don't have to play this card. I just really enjoy it because it does, like I said, get to your Diablos a lot faster. And then Enemy Controller, we run 1 of, just because it's hilarious when you have Lair of Darkness on your side of the field and you tribute one of their monsters to grab one of their monsters. It's so hilarious, it's so funny. I absolutely love it. And the combos with Enemy Controller and Diablos, say Diablos is in your grave, so you play this, tribute one of their monsters, take one of their monsters, bring out Diablos from grave, then use Diablos' effect to tribute the monster that you now control that's also theirs. Oh, it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. You can definitely play more than one if you want to, or you just don't have some of these other cards, just because the enemy controller spam with the Lair of Darkness is so beautiful and always a joy to tag your opponent into, because they're just like, what? And then we run the one Super Poly. In the main deck, we run one Super Poly just for coverage and just in case purposes. Super Poly is too good of a card not to run any of really right now, especially if you run dark decks or are planning to go against people with dark decks. You definitely want that Super Poly coverage. So there's that. And then going into our traps, we have very few traps, but we do have 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This is probably your go-to trap, that's why we run 3 of it. It's going to cut off your opponent from your spells, or from their spells and traps. So you definitely want to try to get to that pretty quickly. And as far as the rest of the traps, we run 2 Deck Devi, and then we run 1 Crush Cards. So shout out to CoreGaming. Crush Cards, they're an awesome YouTube channel, and they are up and coming. They just hit 4,000 subscribers, I'm pretty sure, which is a huge milestone, and I'm super happy for them. So shout outs to you guys. And that's the main deck. So I really enjoyed the main deck. There's not too much I would change unless I'm going up against something in particular. So with that being said, let's get on to the extra deck. The extra deck consists of 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, just because, like I said, you want to kind of just super poly your opponent's monsters, and this is the super easy way to do it. Then we run 1 Stardust Dragon for the Stardust Malefic Stardust Dragon. We run 1 Phantom Knights of Breaksword. He's 2/3 level 3 monsters, so if you end up going to Tour Guide and with Lilith, you can easily get this guy out and use him for fodder for your Deck Devi Virus. And then we have 1 Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is a little bit difficult to get off in this deck, so you want him in your deck just because right now the meta is still Orcists, and Orcists, this is basically your win condition against Orcists. So this is difficult to get off against Orcists, but there is another option that is a little bit easier to get off, and that's going to be the Sandafon the Sky Prison. So they both have fairly similar abilities. This one is going to be a lot easier to go into, but if you can go into Abyss Dweller pretty soon or early in the game, definitely do that. And then to finalize our Sky Striker package, we have Shizuku and Kagari. Or Kagari, sorry. Now, next up we have Beat Cop. Beat Cop is very, very good because it's a 1,000 body dark monster. It can tribute cards based on its ability. It's super good and super great for this deck. And then the same can be said for Barricade Borg Blocker. He's also a 1,000 attack dark monster. He can protect your field spell, your Lair of Darkness. And then because we do run a few Pendulum monsters, we do run the 1 Electromite. You will hardly ever go into this card, but if you do, there's some draw power there. And then we run the 1 Nightmare Unicorn. Nightmare Unicorn is also very good for the Deck Devi Virus. It's a 2,000 or above dark monster, and it's draw power, so it's very good for this deck. And Decode Talker for the same. Decode Talker can actually tribute monsters as well with his ability, so that also works. And then one of my favorite cards to go into in this deck is the Flash Charge Dragon. Because if you do tribute monsters on your opponent's turn, they're going to get 2 tokens. And if you can line it up to where these arrows point to the only other free spots for them to play monsters, then whenever they play a monster in one of those zones that this card points to, then they're going to have to pay life points. And I believe he can also tribute as well. Yeah, he also tributes as well. So he's also, so not only is he a 2000 or above dark monster, he makes your opponent pay life points just to play cards, and he can also tribute as well for the effect with the Diabolos. I always want to call him Diabolos, and I don't know why it bothers me that I say it that way, but that's always the way I say it. But then wrapping up, we have 2 more monsters left in our extra deck. We have Topologic Trispania. Trispania is just a generically good card, 2500, dark monster, super good. And then we have a Boral Sword Dragon. Boral Sword is usually just a win condition for any deck, so why not have him in this one? He's a 3000 attack dark monster. He's going to go great with your virus cards. He's going to go great with just any deck really in general. And so that's going to wrap it up for the extra deck, but I do want to kind of show you guys my side deck that I would use for this. The side deck is very cloggy. There's not a lot of room in the side deck for anything to be taken out or moved around really. So in my opinion, this side deck is very viable for this point in time when I'm making this video, before the January ban list and before we have a concrete new meta. Then I would say that the side deck should consist of 1 Galatea, an Altergeist Hextia, a Totally Awesome, an Invoked Makaba, 3 Nibiru, 3 Winter Cherries, a Sengan, 2 more Crush cards, sorry, another Super Poly, and then this card can be taken out for another Super Poly, which I would kind of recommend, but I've just kind of been testing out a Chupacabra. You can definitely have better ones. Just Chupacabra is the only real danger card that I own personally, so you can definitely test out Bigfoot, things like that would work better with your virus cards. But I've just kind of been testing it out as an idea, so you can definitely run this as another Super Poly if you do take something out. But in my opinion, that's the ground zero, grade A, best version of Lair of Darkness that you can play competitively and actually do pretty damn good with, in my opinion. So if you guys have anything to say about that, or would choose different cards here or there, let me know in the comments down below. And with that being said, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. So that's going to do it for our Lair of Darkness deck profile. This is a deck that I've been playing with and testing with for years. There's many deck profiles of this deck on our channel. I love this deck so much. This is definitely my favorite deck to play right now. One of my favorite decks ever, if I had to say. This is probably my second favorite deck that I've ever played ever, and it's my favorite deck to play right now. So I absolutely love this deck, and I want to make this deck viable for competitive play as best as possible. And if I have a personal goal for this deck, it's that either I or you can make it to regionals and get an invite at a regionals. Like, that's all I want. I don't want this deck to be the #1 deck in the world, but I want this deck to take you or myself, mainly myself if I'm being selfishly honest. I want this deck to be able to win or get an invite at a regionals. So that's what I want for this deck. And if you guys have any kind of input that could help me out, help this deck out, let me know in the comments down below. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, If you guys would like to join the Ojama, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button and you're a part of the Ojama family. So thank you guys so much. And if you guys enjoyed this, definitely think about joining our Patreon. We start as low as $1. That can get you into our Discord, get you talking to people, get you talking to us, whatever, all that kind of stuff. And it goes up to $5, $10. Nothing too serious. I don't think it goes higher than $10, but it definitely starts out at a single dollar a month. So thank you guys so much. If you guys do join that, I will be shouting you guys out in future videos. So think about that. And with that being said, peace.